Greetings to all dear friends. Have you ever noticed this phenomenon? The more a person suffers, the more likely they are to become wise, to attain enlightenment, and the more blessings they will receive from the heavens. If you feel life is too exhausting, too difficult, or if you are facing numerous hardships, the following might help you. If the body does not endure hardship, blessings and fortune will not be abundant. If the mind does not go through difficulties, wisdom will not be awakened. Only when a person undergoes extreme suffering, when both body and mind are tempered and purified, can they reach enlightenment and become wise. For example, having experienced the parting of life and death, one will see through the cycle of birth and death. When betrayed, one can easily let go of the trivial judgments of others. Having loved the wrong person, one becomes more composed in matters of the heart. After experiencing a great crisis in life, one will easily achieve a profound understanding. No one understands the meaning of suffering better than those who have endured great pain. Likewise, no one understands the value of life better than those who have emerged from sorrow. This is what is called enduring tribulation. Whether gods or humans, everyone must face their own tribulations. There is no escaping, no avoiding it. One can only face it and overcome it. The more you try to run away, the more violent the storms ahead will be. The braver you are in facing them, the greater the achievements and blessings you will gain later. A person who can live in the world while maintaining peace and composure should not be seen as someone with such a nature or because life is always smooth. On the contrary, they might have once wallowed in the mud, fallen into the abyss, and only after overcoming all of that did they reach the mindset they have today. Someone who is spoiled since childhood, who grows up with abundance and has never encountered obstacles, everyone might envy such a calm life. But just as a full moon will eventually wane, the heavens and earth rotate, and human beings are no exception. Those who have never faced storms may fall into an abyss of despair when disaster strikes, with no way out. The world is inherently fair. The more one endures hardship, the more the heavens reward them. Therefore, you will find that successful people often have quite a troubled fate. Without charging through the great waves, how can one harvest a bounty of fish? The ability to face adversity, the wisdom and generosity forged from suffering, is what attracts others, and it is an essential armor in life. The bitterness at first will turn sweet over time. When you look back, you will understand that all hardships were not in vain. They were all worth it. If you are going through a difficult phase, motivate yourself and also encourage those who share the same predicament. In the Tao Te Ching, Laozi once said, "A hollow can contain water, and an old object, once at its end, can be reborn." This is the philosophy of extreme leads to reversal. When things reach their extreme, they turn in the opposite direction. Sahara was once an oasis, the Qinghai Tibet Plateau was once an ocean, dynasties rose and fell. This all proves this law. Therefore, excessive stability can also become a type of imprisonment. We need to learn to avoid the trap of indulgence and not lock ourselves in a safe zone. When things go smoothly, do not become arrogant. When at rock bottom, do not become overly pessimistic. The heavens never push humans to the edge, and once you overcome your tribulations, blessings and good fortune will come. Before stepping into the prosperous phase of life, you must go through necessary trials and hardships. Once you pass all these, your fortune will arrive. Life is a journey of constantly overcoming challenges. Each tribulation that comes to you is actually meant to help you grow. Only after being tempered by suffering can you awaken great wisdom and truly transform. If you are going through such trials, congratulations, for you may be about to step into the most brilliant phase of your life. A married couple had a child who had been ill since birth. As the illness worsened, the child needed a kidney transplant, but they could not afford the exorbitant hospital fees. So, they turned to a wealthy merchant in the region, hoping he would help financially to save their son. The merchant, a kind-hearted man, after verifying the story, agreed to support and promised to cover all the surgery and subsequent treatment costs. Thanks to the kidney transplant, the child recovered well and became stronger. However, the couple, instead of being grateful, became excessively greedy. Not long after, they returned to the doctor, requesting a certificate stating that their child required further specialized treatment, intending to exploit the merchant's kindness for more money. When the doctor discovered the truth, he was furious and immediately informed the merchant. The merchant, however, calmly said, "It is because they are excessively greedy that they bring countless troubles upon their own child." As mentioned in the Tai Shang Gan Ing Tian, fortune and misfortune do not come through a fixed door, they are self-inflicted by the person. Good and bad karma follow a person as shadows follow their form. The heavens watch over every action of humans. Those with poor souls often fantasize, being endlessly greedy, demanding without giving. People like this will surely not find a cure. The ancients said, "Even in hardship, do not lose your character and noble aspiration." A person faces more difficulties, but they must persist in maintaining their morality and high principles. Only with a rich inner world can they attract good fortune and see life go more smoothly. Buddha teaches that every adversity is a force that helps us move forward. Life is full of ups and downs, sometimes rising, sometimes falling, and no one is exempt from falling into the abyss of fate. However, it is how we face the abyss that will determine the heights we can reach in the future. In life, most things do not go as expected. It is common to fail in our pursuits. As Zhang Guofan once said, "Even a hero must bear the scars. The blood and sweat are inevitable." This sounds ordinary, but if we place it in the context of his life, we will understand just how difficult it was. Zhang Guofan, revered by future generations as a sage, was, in fact, of humble talent. From the age of 14, he failed 7 times before passing the imperial examination. When he served as an official in the capital, his rural demeanor made him a target for ridicule by the aristocracy, so much so that he even contemplated suicide. While organizing the army and fighting the Taiping rebels, he suffered continuous defeats, losing at Changsha, Xiangzhou, and Hoku. He even tried to take his own life 3 times but failed. His life can be summarized in 4 words: loss after loss, fight after fight. Despite all the defeats, he never gave up. It was through his indomitable will that he eventually became the final victor. Nam Huaichen once said, 3,000 years of history, all are just about fame, wealth, and power. 90,000 miles of spiritual journey. In the end, it all leads to poetry and wine. This means that no matter how long one struggles for fame and fortune, in the end, it's all vanity. After walking 90,000 miles of life, what we truly seek is a peaceful and carefree life. If one clings to the impermanent, they will only bring suffering upon themselves. The source of suffering lies in the limitations we place upon ourselves. Most of the distress in life comes from the mind being bound, unable to see clearly, unable to let go. Even a great man like Zhang Guofan could not avoid moments of confusion. Before the age of 40, he was just like any other ordinary person, struggling in society and focusing on social relationships. He was arrogant, reserved, and lacked communication skills. When he first arrived in the capital, he often engaged in heated debates with others. His poor interpersonal skills, sharp words, and inability to handle situations with finesse led to criticism from his peers. The tension between him and his colleagues was so high that they often argued whenever they met. He was impulsive and unaware of his shortcomings. Due to his zeal, he submitted a memorial to the emperor, but as a result, he was dismissed for a year. Even when writing to his family, encouraging his siblings to study diligently, he was criticized for being too long-winded and troublesome. There is a quote from a movie: "Do not overestimate yourself in 2 years, and do not underestimate yourself in 10 years. A truly wise person will never limit their understanding to a small corner of the sky." After a year of self-reflection, Zhang Guofan realized that the difficulties he faced were not due to a harsh superior, unhelpful colleagues, or a lack of ambition in his family. He himself had been too hasty and had set expectations too high for others. Later, he recorded this insight in his diary. "In the year of Ding Ti, I suffered great defeats and realized many things. I now see that I have no talents, but I can recognize the strengths of others. Since then, I have not been the same." By the time he turned 41, Anyone who met Zhang Guofan would find that he had completely changed. He became more humble, tolerant, and composed. No longer moved by fame and fortune, he no longer calculated gains and losses. This was wisdom and maturity. In the Lotus Sutra, it is said, "All suffering arises from the root of greed. If one cannot recognize and restrain greed from the very beginning, it will grow larger and larger, bringing countless misfortunes." Zhang Guofan was very focused on self-cultivation, and his reputation was very high. Under his leadership, the Xiong army had hundreds of thousands of soldiers, considered the strongest military force of the time. This led many to suspect whether he harbored ambitions to become emperor. It is said that after the capture of Wang Leking, some suggested using the vast army of the Xiong army to support Zhang Guofan in claiming the throne. Even in the military, figures like Hu Lini, Zhuo Tongtang, and Zhang Guofan's own brother encouraged him to establish himself as emperor. After capturing Anqing, his generals held a victory celebration and presented Zhang Guofan with a plaque that read, "Kings and lords have lineage, emperors have divine destiny," suggesting he should claim the throne. Upon seeing this, Zhang Guofan immediately rebuked the person who presented it and tore it up. During his 60th birthday, the governor of Hubei, Hu Lini, came to congratulate him. After a conversation, Hu Lini wrote on the table, "Should I keep this friendship when half of the southeast belongs to no ruler?" Zhang Guofan responded with a couplet, "The will of heaven shines like countless flowers. The flowing water and high mountains have their own hearts." His response cleverly expressed that he had no intention of becoming emperor. At that time, the imperial court began to suspect Zhang Guofan. Empress Dowager Cixi placed the Huai army under the control of Li Hongzhang to restrain him. But it was Zhang Guofan's calmness in the face of power that allowed him to preserve his reputation in the future. Maintaining wisdom in the face of temptation, remaining clear-headed in the midst of worldly praise, is the reason one can reach the pinnacle of success. Studies have shown that 90% of illnesses in the world are related to human emotions. As stated in the Huangdi Neijing, inner canon of the Yellow Emperor, anger harms the liver, joy harms the heart, worry harms the lungs, and fear harms the kidneys. Negative emotions are the root cause of all diseases. There is a famous host who, despite having a brilliant career, faced countless pain and trials behind the scenes. At the peak of his career, he was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. However, in the face of illness, he remained strong, kept a positive attitude, and eventually overcame the disease and continued performing energetically on stage. He once said, "In life, there are things that must come and things that must go. No matter what, everything lies in ourselves. No matter the circumstances, maintaining an optimistic attitude is the most important thing because the only person who can heal you is yourself." There is a saying, "A heart that expands 1 inch will reduce illness by 1 foot." All suffering comes from the mind. The root also lies in the mind. If one knows how to let go, their spirit will be at ease, and their body will naturally be healthy. When entering middle age, nourishing the soul is the best way to cherish life. With fewer worries, life will be peaceful, and with a happy mood, health will last longer. Life is inherently a journey of continuous partings, each one taking us further away from those we know. None of us can avoid illness or death. What matters is how we learn to face it. Zhang Guofan had 5 brothers, and as the eldest, he placed great importance on nurturing the 4 younger brothers. He often wrote letters to teach them the principles of self-cultivation and hoped each of them could build their own career. However, fate was not kind. Before Zhang Guofan could achieve great success, his second brother, Zhang Guohua, and his youngest brother, Zhang Guobao, both passed away. Among his brothers, Zhang Guohua had the highest talent, but his free-spirited nature created some tension in his relationship with Zhang Guofan. Nonetheless, when he heard that his elder brother was surrounded by Taiping troops in Jiangxi, although he had never led an army, he decided to command soldiers to rescue him. When the 2 brothers reunited after the war, they embraced and cried, putting aside their past misunderstandings. In 1858, in Sanhe Town, Anhui Province, Zhang Guohua's army was surrounded by Taiping forces and was completely destroyed. When the tragic news reached Zhang Guofan, he was devastated, to the point of coughing up blood. His youngest brother, Zhang Guobao, was mild-mannered and obedient, and he had always admired his elder brother. He frequently read the letters Zhang Guofan sent him. Under his elder brother's influence, Zhang Guobao was humble, eager to learn, and had many achievements in military management. In 1862, when the Xiong army surrounded Tianjin, Zhang Guobao personally commanded the battlefront and fought day and night. But in the end, he contracted a disease and died at the age of 33. By this time, Zhang Guofan no longer felt the intense pain he had when he lost his second brother. Instead, he felt a sense of transcendence and calm. Those who have experienced the loss of loved ones will understand how fragile life truly is. Human life is finite. The world is impermanent. This is the most cruel truth of the world. After hearing this, you may be asking, why do people have to experience tribulations? How can we overcome them? Let's explore this question. First, where do tribulations come from? Like all things in nature, everything operates on a cycle of 12 months, constantly turning in endless repetition. The profound meaning of this is that the world operates according to incredibly long cycles, endlessly recurring. These cycles are so vast that humans cannot predict them precisely, but they are not entirely fixed. In this eternal cycle, everything in the world, including each person and every detail of our lives, has already, is currently, and will continue to repeat countless times without changing, even by a little. People often say that one must go through countless tribulations before they can achieve success. Those who cultivate in the deep mountains must face their heavenly tribulations. In fact, in life, 9 out of 10 things do not go as we wish. Difficulty is always present. Tribulations related to life and death are often referred to as tribulations of fate. Those who are lucky enough to overcome them are said to have escaped disaster. According to Taoist belief, tribulations are disasters and misfortunes. But why do tribulations exist? Most tribulations are caused by accumulated karma from past lives. As the ancients taught, as you sow, so shall you reap. This is entirely accurate. However, every cause and effect requires time to accumulate. In this process, people constantly accumulate different causes and effects, which gradually ripen. Good causes bring blessings, while bad causes bring misfortune. Because we have created countless causes and effects, our lives are filled with joys and sorrows, love and hate, birth and death. For many people, this is life. Indeed, in the mortal world, this is the human condition. If we do not change, we will continue to reincarnate in the realm of humanity. What is meant to happen will happen. What is meant to be suffered will be suffered, with no stopping point. However, from the human perspective, if someone has to endure too many tribulations, especially when they begin cultivating, and they find no benefit from it but only continuous challenges, they may feel uneasy and unjust. At such times, they will ask, how can I, not knowing the reasons for my tribulations from previous lives, be forced to endure this suffering? Isn't this unfair to me in this life? Many people have had such doubts, yet they cannot find answers. In reality, the only thing we can change is the outcome of our future. It is difficult to obtain a human body and difficult to be reborn midway. In the Beidou Jing, North Star Sutra, it is said, sentient beings reincarnate due to karma, either falling into hell or being born into other realms according to their deeds. Because of deep karmic obstacles, the soul is bound in the realm of the underworld, suffering immense pain. People born into this world, whether in the human realm or as animals, rarely get the chance to be human. But due to delusion and lack of self-awareness, they continue to suffer in reincarnation. This is why the scriptures often emphasize that the human body is hard to obtain. From the literal meaning of the scriptures, sentient beings, due to karma, endure different retributions, falling into hell or being born as animals or insects. The main reason is the depth of their karmic obstacles, binding their souls in the underworld and causing immense suffering. In simple terms, life and death and whether one can be human or not are not fixed. If karma binds one and causes them to fall into hell or be reborn as an animal, they lose the chance to be human, falling deeper into samsara without realizing it. This also shows that the teachings of Laozi about the difficulty of obtaining a human body are meant to remind sentient beings to follow the way, not to let their true nature be confused, and not to fall into the wrong path. The scriptures also say, sentient beings experience a life like a speck of dust in the wind, reincarnating in birth and death. Some are born in the east, others in wild lands full of danger. This shows that being born human is already a rare opportunity. But after obtaining a human body, what then? Some are born in the heart of civilization, while others are born in places full of danger. The cause is not only due to the geographical differences between Asia and remote regions, but, more importantly, due to the karmic affinities of each sentient being. Those who have not understood the way and have not found the path to liberation, even if they are born into this world, will not understand the way back to the true path. Let alone those who are starting to cultivate, wishing to reach the realm of true immortality, to permanently escape samsara, and attain the great way. This is also one of the reasons why the true Dharma is hard to encounter. Why do we encounter tribulations in life? There is a well-known saying, destiny is inescapable. Indeed, each person's life path is uniquely determined by their own past actions and karmic debts. However, it is essential to understand that while tribulations and trials are an inevitable part of life, how we respond to them shapes our future. One can either face adversity with courage and grace, allowing it to refine and strengthen them, or they can succumb to despair and frustration, remaining stuck in a cycle of suffering. When Zhang Guofan faced seemingly endless failure, it was not the failure itself that defined him, but his response to it. Rather than becoming bitter or giving up, he learned from every setback, using each challenge to fuel his determination. His life teaches us that the most profound growth often occurs in the face of the greatest challenges. It is only through enduring and overcoming suffering that one can truly develop inner strength and wisdom. Desire is another powerful force that can drive individuals toward their destiny. As Laozi taught, desire is the root of all suffering. The more one clings to desires, the more they find themselves caught in the web of endless cravings, which lead to dissatisfaction, frustration, and suffering. True liberation comes not from fulfilling every desire, but from understanding the nature of desire itself and learning to let go of it. In Zhang Guofan's life, he was often faced with temptations of power and wealth, especially during times when he could have claimed the throne. Yet, he chose to remain humble and devoted to his true calling, demonstrating that true greatness lies in the ability to resist the temptations of the world. His self-discipline and restraint were key to his success and his ability to preserve his integrity. Luck and misfortune are ever-changing in life. As the saying goes, misfortune is the door to fortune, and fortune is the door to misfortune. Life is full of contradictions and paradoxes. What seems like an unfortunate event today may turn out to be a blessing in disguise tomorrow. On the other hand, what appears to be good fortune can quickly turn into a source of suffering. Zhang Guofan's life was a perfect example of this paradox. Even though he endured many hardships and defeats, they ultimately paved the way for his success. His ability to remain calm and composed in the face of adversity allowed him to rise from failure and achieve greatness. This teaches us that the way we handle our misfortunes often determines the future blessings we receive. When faced with misfortune, we must learn to see the opportunity for growth within it. Likewise, when faced with good fortune, we must remain humble and mindful, remembering that it is impermanent. As we grow older, we are inevitably confronted with the reality of aging and the impermanence of life. While we cannot avoid aging, we can choose how to respond to it. Wisdom comes with age, and the more we cultivate it, the more we learn to accept life's inevitable changes. Just as the moon goes through cycles of waxing and waning, so too does human life ebb and flow. In Zhang Guofan's later years, he became more reflective and at peace with the passage of time. He understood that life's ultimate goal is not to resist aging or death, but to embrace them with grace and wisdom. Through his own experience, he came to realize that true peace comes not from escaping the inevitable, but from accepting it and learning to live fully in the present moment. As he faced the death of his beloved brothers, Zhang Guofan's understanding of life deepened. He no longer saw death as a tragedy but as a natural part of the cycle of life. This shift in perspective allowed him to live his remaining years in a state of inner peace and acceptance. His life teaches us that while death is an inevitable part of life, it does not need to be feared. Instead, we should live in such a way that when our time comes, we can leave this world with peace in our hearts. Life is full of tribulations, but they are not to be seen as obstacles to our happiness. Rather, they are opportunities for growth, transformation, and enlightenment. Every hardship we face has the potential to refine us, teach us valuable lessons, and ultimately lead us to greater wisdom and understanding. The stories of those who have faced great suffering and come through it stronger, like Zhang Guofan, serve as reminders that we too can overcome our own challenges. In fact, it is through facing our trials with courage, wisdom, and patience that we truly grow and evolve. If you are currently facing difficulties in your life, take heart. Know that these challenges are not in vain. They are shaping you, helping you to become a wiser and more resilient person. And just as the ancient sages taught, there is a divine order to all things. Your efforts, your perseverance, and your resilience will ultimately bring you peace and blessings. If you are finding it difficult to navigate the tribulations in your life, remember the wisdom of the ancients. Even in hardship, the virtuous will find peace. The more one endures, the greater the rewards. Keep your faith, remain patient, and know that, just as the moon wanes and waxes, every phase in life is temporary. You will emerge stronger, wiser, and more fulfilled than before. Thank you for listening to this message. If you found it beneficial, please leave a like and share it with others. If you haven't subscribed yet, click the subscribe button to stay connected with us. May you overcome all your tribulations and may all things go well for you.